Hello and very warm welcome at Amish Shackle 5858. I am Amish Shackle. Foreign news have been reported by American, European, Asian, African, Australian news channels and the news agencies. So please, let's go to the headlines.
Tonight, weather threats, big storms powering up this weekend. From the Pacific Northwest to the Caribbean, Melissa now a hurricane and intensifying fast.
I'm Jason Allen in Kingston, a city that is still busy and packed with people, even as Melissa takes direct aim on this island.
Tens of millions in the path of heavy rain and potentially damaging winds. I'm meteorologist Andrew Kozak. I'll have your full national forecast.
Also tonight, President Trump heads to Asia, leaving behind a storm of controversy.
Well, Canada lied.
I'm Willie James in Manhattan, White House, with new reporting on a mystery Pentagon donor and the expanding use of presidential power from imposing tariffs to remaking the nation's capital.
Shutdown cliff.
I'm Christina Fan in New York. With the deadline fast approaching, pressure is mounting on millions of Americans who rely on SNAP benefits to pay for food aid.
Gambling scandal. The NBA commissioner breaks his silence. Mystery man. After the Louvre jewel heist, why this photo is sparking an online frenzy. The latest on the investigation. All that, plus remembering a Hollywood legend on big screens and small. June Lockhart dies at age 100.
This is the CBS Weekend News from New York with Jerika Duncan.
Tonight, the deadly hurricane barreling through the Caribbean. Hurricane Melissa slowly closing in on Jamaica. People on the island on edge. Some locations bracing for more than 2 feet of rain. The storm already flooding out the Dominican Republic and leaving at least 3 people dead in Haiti, where the storm is heading next. President Trump raising tariffs on Canada because of a TV ad about tariffs. Plus, what to expect as he kicks off his high-stakes trip to Asia. The president now threatening military action inside Venezuela as the administration sends the clearest message yet to the Maduro regime. Former Vice President Harris leaving the door open, suggesting she might run for president again. The government shutdown fueling growing headaches for travelers around the country and why they could get even worse this week. Take a look at this, a plane just barely missing this car during a crash landing on a highway. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver speaking out for the first time about the federal gambling case allegedly involving big names in the league and members of the mob. And now Congress is demanding answers. The best-selling book is striking a chord across the country and sparking recovery for the opioid crisis. And there's good news tonight about hard work paying off. A special surprise that moved this teacher to tears.
This is NBC Nightly News with Jose Diaz-Balart.
Good evening. We begin tonight with a dangerous situation unfolding in the Caribbean. Right now, Hurricane Melissa is slowly churning. Trump negotiates with foreign leaders. Democrats here at home are trying to impede his war on narco-terrorism. 7 in the Senate are trying to pass a resolution stopping him from conducting the strikes.
You shouldn't support the president of the United States saying, screw you, I'm president. I can kill who I want to kill, and you all just have to live with it.
Another sign of the deterioration of our democracy when a president arrogates to himself the power to blow ships up in the Caribbean or now in the Pacific without any authority.
The massing of U.S. troops, the president's own announcement that he's authorized covert operations in Venezuela, the president should not go to war without a vote of Congress.
Yeah, joining us now, Texas Congressman Pat Fallon. He sits on the House Armed Services and Oversight Committees. Listen, Congressman, I got a lot of questions. Honestly, I have a lot of criticism. I would love to see Adam Schiff, the videos of him clutching his pearls when President Obama was droning American citizens, which I might say deserve to die, that had waged jihad around the world. That's a different topic. What I want to ask you about is moving this carrier strike group into our hemisphere from the Middle East. Is this as much a diplomatic signal to the Middle East and everything that Trump's accomplishing there as it is a tactical move for South America, or is this really about narco-terrorism?
Well, I think it's about President Trump negotiating from a position of strength, which he does repeatedly, and Joe Biden, forgot.
mostly fentanyl. Those precursors are manufactured in China, then they're sent to Mexico, and the Mexican drug cartels smuggle them into the United States. This is an asymmetrical fear that the Chinese communists are reaching against our country, and I'm glad President Trump is taking bold action.
Congressman, moving now to immigration oversight, ongoing raid.
We're going to be essentially tracking every single instance that we can verify that the community will be able to send us information on. It'll be all available in one central place.
Congressman, it really begs the question, some of your colleagues, who are they fighting for? Illegal aliens or American citizens who are also our federal agents of ICE, Border Patrol, and other federal responsibilities? It's really unsettling, especially given what happened in Dallas. There's a lot of app stores that pulled off these ICE tracking apps because they were indecent and inappropriate and dangerous. But now it seems that your colleagues on the Democrat side, they want to resurrect it tenfold.
I mean, I'm furious. This is stunning. This is an American elected member of Congress essentially allying himself with the Mexican drug cartels who have placed bounties into the tens of thousands of dollars on our...
On PBS News Weekend, President Trump makes his first trip to Asia of his second term as he seeks a trade deal with Chinese President Xi Jinping. Inside China, the government launches the most widespread crackdown on the country's Christians in years, and the experimental treatment offering hope to the millions of Americans who struggle with chronic pain.
Even today, I've had a 7-hour migraine all day today. I still got up, I still did my errands, and it's something that people living in chronic pain are just forced to do.
Major funding. Breaking news this Saturday night. The U.S. president announces a tariff increase for Canada. Donald Trump doubles down, announcing plans to add an extra 10% on imports from Canada.
Canada lied. What they did was better.
As the president and the prime minister arrive in Asia for a high-stakes summit. Also tonight, Blue Jays jubilation. The crushing Game 1 win sends Toronto into a tizzy. Can the boys in blue make it 2? We'll have a report from Rogers Center. Donation consternation. The billionaire paying U.S. soldiers salaries during the government's shutdown. Plus, Halloween sticker shock. Why you can expect to pay more for trick or treat. Reporting tonight, Jeff Sell. Good evening and thank you for joining us. We begin tonight with breaking news. U.S. President Donald Trump is once again raising tariffs on Canada, this time in response to Ontario's anti-tariff TV ad campaign that's airing in the U.S. this weekend, but is set to be pulled from the airwaves on Monday. That ad includes a clip from former President Ronald Reagan. In a long social media post railing against Canada, Trump says because of their serious misrepresentation of the facts and hostile act, I am increasing the tariff on Canada by 10% over and above what they are paying now. At this point, it's unclear exactly how that extra 10% will be applied and whether it will be added on top of the sectoral tariffs, for example, or on all goods not covered by the current free trade deal. The president is on his way to Asia tonight, where Prime Minister Mark Carney is also set to conduct trade talks with multiple countries. Mackenzie Gray is traveling with the Prime Minister. Mackenzie.
Donald Trump is clearly jet-lagged, Jeff, because he was on social media at 4:30 a.m. here local time, blasting Canada, promising to do a 10% tariff, in his words, over and above what they are paying now. If that's a new baseline tariff or just an additional 10% on what Canada is paying on things like steel and aluminum, that's not clear right now. The Prime Minister's office has always been very cautious to comment on these kinds of posts from Trump without seeing anything on paper, and they've got no comment this morning here in Malaysia on what Trump has said, despite many sources that I've talked with saying they didn't sleep at all last night thanks to Trump. This comes after Trump called off.
Hey everyone.
everyone, and thanks for streaming with us. I'm Maggie Ruley, and welcome to ABC News Live Weekend. Let's take a look at your top headlines. Police in Atlanta say they thwarted a potential mass shooting at the country's busiest airport thanks to the suspect's own family. The suspect allegedly staging a dry run at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, even bringing an assault-style rifle with him. But when he began streaming video saying he was headed there to shoot it up, his family called police, averting a tragedy. Authorities say the man has a history of mental illness, but an exact motive is still under investigation. A family is now home after being forced to bail from a burning boat and swim to a small island near Martha's Vineyard, spending the night marooned there. Officials say they found the three castaways Wednesday after getting a call from a family member that they hadn't returned from a sail the afternoon before. Initial searches were unsuccessful, but when the boat's marine radio washed ashore, the son used it to make a mayday call to the Coast Guard. And you might want to check your fridge. Millions of eggs are being recalled amid a salmonella warning. Now, the FDA is warning consumers not to eat, sell, or serve certain types of black sheep egg company eggs. The company issued a voluntary recall late last month. Some eggs had already been distributed to other countries, including Ken's Heinz, which issued its own recall last week. And call it the Claudacy. Do you get it? It's like the Odyssey, but it's claws because it's crabs. Okay, millions of red crabs have begun their annual migration across Christmas Island in Australia. The crabs make this march out to the sea to breed and lay eggs. Human inhabitants even helping out, clearing debris and setting up roadblocks so the crabs can make their journey safely. Look at that, a little creepy. And turning now to our top story, Shannon Keeler says she's finally getting justice, coming face to face with the man who triggered nightmares and anxiety after sexually assaulting her as a freshman in college. It took courage, tenacity, and his social media confession of "so I raped you" to keep her cause from falling through the cracks, and a system which she says she's determined to change. Nightlight co-anchor Juju Chang has more.
I was 18 years old, a college freshman loving.
Hello, very good morning. It's 7 o'clock. Coming up on the show today, the Justice Secretary demands answers on how such a high-profile prisoner could be accidentally released and is still on the run.
And it's now 4 Premier League defeats in a row for the reigning champions Liverpool after they lose again, this time at Brentford.
It's Sunday the 26th of October. New CCTV is released of the sex offender Hadush Gabatu, still at large, spotted in a library in East London. The Justice Secretary demands officials to draw up plans for an independent investigation to identify how Gabatu was accidentally released. UK's largest supermarkets warned the Chancellor that tax hikes could lead to even higher food prices on the shelves. John Bon Jovi is back and speaks to Sky News about Bond's biopics becoming granddad.
Great Britain's Lando Norris takes pole position for the Mexico City Grand Prix as he looks to boost his world title hopes after his rivals both falter.
Hello, a very good morning. Thanks for joining us here on The Breakfast Show. Our top story today, the search for the sex offender Hadush Gabatu is now in its third day after he was released from custody in error on Friday morning. Gabatu was found guilty last month of sexually assaulting a 14-year-old girl and a woman in Epping in Essex. His crimes while staying at the Bell Hotel in Epping sparked weeks of protests over the summer. But Justice Secretary David Lammy has ordered officials to draw up plans for an independent investigation into how such a high-profile prisoner could be accidentally released. So let's take you through everything that's happened up to this point. It was at 12:41 on Friday afternoon that Hadush Gabatu boarded a train from Chelmsford to Stratford in London after being mistakenly let go from prison. CCTV released late last night.
Live from Berlin, Cambodia and Thailand agree to expand their ceasefire agreement with Donald Trump's name on it. The U.S. president co-signs what he calls a peace deal during a Southeast Asian summit. He also strikes trade agreements with the two countries after threatening them with higher tariffs over their cross-border clashes. Venezuela's leader accuses the U.S. of fabricating a war against his country. Washington says it's battling drug trafficking and has attacked alleged smuggling vessels. And Hurricane Melissa bears down on Jamaica. The storm has already caused deaths in Haiti and the Dominican Republic, and it's getting stronger.
watching Daybreak on France 24. Coming up, Donald Trump oversees the signing of a peace deal between Thailand and Cambodia as he attends a regional summit in Malaysia. The start of a 5-day tour that will also take him to Japan and South Korea, where he'll meet with Chinese President Xi Jinping. We'll get some analysis from James D.J. Brown, a professor of political science at Temple University in Japan. And Ivory Coast awaits the results of its presidential election. Current leader Alassane Ouattara is seeking a controversial fourth term. His two main rivals were barred from running. The winner is expected to be announced early next week. It's good to have you with us. Also coming up, it's not your average church wedding. A couple was married Saturday at the Notre Dame Cathedral here in Paris. It's not usually allowed, but an exception was made for the groom, one of the hundreds of artisans who participated in the cathedral's reconstruction.
Peace and trade deals inked. Donald Trump gets down to business as the ASEAN summit gets underway. Tit for tat tariff. The US president punishes Canada with a 10% hike over a contentious TV advert. Australia's big cricket win over South Africa overshadowed by an alleged assault on two players. And the Diamonds suffer a 9-goal loss against New Zealand, sending the Consolation Cup to a deciding Game 4. Hello, welcome to ABC News. I'm Melissa McKay. A regional summit has begun in Southeast Asia with world leaders, including US President Donald Trump, descending on Malaysia. Mr. Trump has joined the signing of a peace agreement between Thailand and Cambodia, also inking trade deals with both nations. The bloc also welcomes Timor-Leste into the fold. Our correspondent Tim Swanston joins us now from the summit in Kuala Lumpur. Hi there, Tim. So first, let's go to this peace agreement. What did the leaders say about it and what exactly does it do?
Yeah, good evening, Melissa. Certainly an odd start to this year's ASEAN. Straight away after the handshakes, the family photos, we got stuck into the bulk of a peace agreement between Thailand and Cambodia, overseen by US President Donald Trump and Thailand's Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim. Now, US President Donald Trump is effectively claiming a lot of the credit for this peace deal between the two nations, Thailand and Cambodia, which saw a deadly spate.
This is Asia Now.
It's 2 p.m. in Singapore and Hong Kong, 11:30 in New Delhi, and 1 o'clock in Jakarta. Also, at this hour, Thailand and Cambodia signed an expanded peace deal, with US President Donald Trump witnessing the ceremony in Malaysia's capital. The agreement builds on the ceasefire brokered in July that ended some of the most intense border clashes in decades. Earlier in Kuala Lumpur, the ASEAN summit opened with blockchain Malaysia pledging meaningful outcomes as leaders tackle US-China tensions, shifts in global aid, the gases, and in 26 years. Washington stop train envoy kills Chinese troops. Gabriel says discussions are moving on to the final details.
Discontent and disillusion with widespread. We've let Farage and his ilk wait with it. He wants to bring
stripping Prince Andrew of his titles for good, while there is pressure building up, of course, on him to move out of royal lodge.
If you're rather confused in all the timings this morning, just a reminder that the clocks went back an hour last night. Of course, it's marking the build-up to the darkest day of the year.
And what's in a name? As a slew of celebrities snap up the big roles on the West End stages, so Tim Rice will tell us why it's harder than ever to make it big on stage.
Good morning, Phil. Some continues reckoning to full 60 defeats on the title defence in disarray and involving
Some of us it's next Wednesday as well. Find out all the details coming up soon.
just got I'm Stephen News. African News. The news.
Madagascar's former president, Antrax Welner, has been stripped of his nationality after fleeing the country earlier this month amid widespread youth-led protests. The news came as his former advisor, Memiliana Rabatumanga, was arrested in Mauritius on suspicion of laundering more than $160 million using assets of the country. Antrax Welner's final weeks in office were marked by demonstrations that brought thousands onto the streets across the country to protest power and water outages, the cost of living, and corruption. When an elite military unit launched a coup, Antrax Welner fled, claiming his life was in danger. Michael Randrianarino was sworn into office and has promised to hold elections within the next 2 years. On Friday, the country's new government declared it was stripping Ratswelner of his citizenship because he acquired French nationality in 2014 in contravention of Madagascar law. Reports say he fled on a French military plane and his whereabouts are still unknown. There's been a major shake-up in Nigeria's military, with President Bola Tinubu replacing several top security officials. No reason has been given for the move, but it comes as the government denied rumours of an attempted coup following local media reports that at least 20 military officers were arrested last month, including a colonel and a brigadier general. The country is facing a number of security challenges, including unabated violence in the north, where Islamic extremists have repeatedly overrun military outposts, mined roads with bombs, and raided civilian communities. The capital of Abuja was also shaken by protests earlier this week as police fired tear gas and arrested dozens of people demanding the release of Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the separatist indigenous people of Biafra group that's calling for independence for Nigeria's southeastern region. In the past 3 years, Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger have each seen a military takeover, the trend that analysts warn could continue across West Africa. Liberia is willing to accept Panama and Rodrigo Garcia and supported in the United States, according to documents filed in U.S. federal court. Uganda, Ghana and Eswatini all previously refused to name. In the filing, the Trump administration strikes to human rights and is committed to treating refugees humanely. Liberia would accept Rodrigo Garcia on his
Thank you for watching Amish Shakil 5858. I am Amish Shakil. I hope you will visit again. Have a good life. Bye-bye.